episode 2.
Comic Gaming Movie Show.
Different scenery today.
For some reason, he's back. I don't know why he's back. He kind of just crawled up and he snuck in here. That's what happened. I was making the video.
Hey, it's not my fault you left your key under the mat. I just happened to find it.
This is why you have to make sure that your windows are locked.
Or keep a gun in your house, one of the two.
Or he'll just sneak in the door. Sneak in somehow.
I'll just sneak in. I might drink all your soda. That's about it.
But anywho,
for those of you who don't know me, you've grown.
Yes.
I think you've grown quite a bit.
I mention Seth all the time, and if you've been following me long enough, this is Seth. He was on this channel with me, along with my other friend Mark. Like, they were on this channel with me when I first started doing this, so...
Yep, we started this together so many years ago. He's grown so much. All right, back to the theme, though. We're wasting a little bit of time here.
Anyway. But anywho.
That was just because, you have grown, so I figured.
A little bit. Just a little bit. But, dude, I'm here to talk. This is a video I've been thinking about doing for quite a bit. I want to talk about how underrated the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy is. Now, if you my age and you're mid-20s and you've been around, even if you're younger than that, you probably know about that Pirates of the Caribbean.
Because the first Pirates of the Caribbean came out in 2004?
4 something like that. Yeah, the last one came out in 2016. It was Dead Man Tales Don't Tells.
Let's talk about
that. The better. But the Pirates of the Caribbean, at least that original 3 movies, do get kind of a bad rep.
Like, they do. Mainly Dead Man's Chest and At World's End.
Everyone agrees that the first Pirates of the Caribbean is a classic. It's a classic. It's one of the best action adventures. It pretty much set the table for what an action adventure should be. The story, the little love thing. Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, in a defining role of his career. Jack Sparrow was so good that they had to redo the ride that the movie was based off of to include him in it because he was so charismatic and good. Like, Jack Sparrow became a megastar, and Johnny Depp became a megastar. But I'm here to talk about how this is a better trilogy than some people think, because most trilogies don't have the twists and turns that this one have. But if you watch that first movie and you watch the last movie, all these characters are, other than Jack Sparrow, which I'll get into why Jack might have swayed a little people's opinions about it. I disagree with people who say that Jack Sparrow became a parody of himself. In those movies, at least, I will agree. By the time the 4th one came around, and especially the 5th one, he had become a parody of himself. But I don't think in those other 3 movies, in all 3 of the original movies, he was just Jack Sparrow. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's but me and you have talked about this before, that perhaps he
never really did get more intense than that, the first 3 movies. It really was the 4th movie that showed, it kind of spiraled out of control.
But we'll get into that later. Let's talk about the good bits. First of all, we really don't have to get into the first movie. First movie's perfect. The theme song, iconic. Everybody knows that song.
And definitely the first movie kind of brought a new light back to the pirate genre by adding a lot of supernatural elements.
It added a bit of fun to it now.
It definitely did.
Some people would say that the pirate genre, that it kind of fluffed the pirate genre, because most pirate movies up to that point they were either for kids and really goofy, or they were really very serious and bloody,
and had a message.
And Pirates of the Caribbean came with this fun and adventure and stuff, and it kind of became the defining pirate movie that people would think, at least in our generation.
Mostly, yeah.
Like, when you think of pirates, you think of Pirates of the Caribbean. So that first movie was iconic. Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley,
Johnny Depp.
It really helped. It really put them on a huger stage. And I always forget the actor who played Barbossa, but I've seen him in plenty of things before.
Yeah. He's been. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name on top of my head.
He's been in a lot of stuff too.
But that movie was so fun. Jack Sparrow, one of the best anti-hero / action adventure characters of all time, and he took off. Which may have
Orlando Bloom's career's been steady. He's been in a lot of different stuff.
Orlando Bloom.
Keira Knightley had, I think, kind of left movies for a bit and did a lot of TV.
They both tried to do stuff, but they both never caught on after that.
No.
Johnny Depp did stuff after this. He was doing stuff. He kind of started to become kind of just weird for weird's sake. It's funny to think though, but before Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp was an actor. He didn't do weird shit.
Yeah.
But after Jack Sparrow and after success playing him, he started doing weirder shit, A
lot of smaller strange movies, like low budget movies.
Yeah, like
Willem Dafoe's doing now.
Say, outside of Edward Scissorhands, that's about the only weird thing
he did the movie representation of Sweeney Todd. He did that.
But that was after Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, so
he did Sweeney Todd after Pirates. So like he started doing weirder and weirder stuff after Pirates of the Caribbean. But before that, like I said, he was really just actor. He's just actor, other than Edward Scissorhands. But Orlando Bloom and them, they tried to do other things, but it never really worked out for them. But that first movie was great.
Yeah.
Now the sequel, I thought was like really built well because it was consequences for their actions in the first movie.
As well as introducing better characters. Like you meet Davy Jones for the first time. You get to see a little bit more into Jack's past. You get to meet Beckett, Lord Beckett, Davy Jones. You meet Will's father finally.
Played by one of the... But I always forget his... I know he's Skarsgård. He's Skarsgård.
I call him Papa.
He's Daddy.
He's Papa Skarsgård.
He's Daddy Skarsgård. You've seen him before. He's been in Thor and things of that nature too, so you've seen him in a lot.
He's been in a lot of stuff, both big and small.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That guy does not really judge on what movies he does. He's just like, oh, do I like it? Oh, great, I'll play it.
And like, the second movie was fun, and it ended on something you wouldn't have saw coming.
Nope.
Jack getting eaten by the Kraken.
Sacrificing himself.
They introduced the Kraken. It also had one of the more fun action sequences that a lot of people actually agree is still a fun sequence, which was that wheel thing where the three guys are fighting and they're on the wheel and the wheel's spinning.
They were after Davy Jones' heart, and they're spinning on the wheel fighting. Like, that movie... That movie especially, I don't understand why people had such a grudge against it. I'm just like, it was such a fun movie that introduced so many cool, iconic characters that would last into the next movie. Mm-hmm. And it plugged a lot of gaps, too. Like, I'm like, Will's father, is he alive? Davy Jones, like...
Well, because they talked about Will's father in the first movie.
Yeah, and
the spitting image
and
of
they never ever really talked about Jack's past in the first movie. The only thing you know is that he had the Black Pearl and he got mutinied. That was it.
He had that mark because they knew he was a pirate because of the mark on his hands that was put there.
And that was that was Norrington, I think. His name was. Yeah, he found the mark and said he had like a P brand on.
Even Norrington had a nice arc through the trilogy.
Yeah, he
started off as this guy,
stern naval officer.
By a sequel, he's just a piece of shit looking.
He fell in hard times.
But
he redeems himself in the third one.
Yeah, like the thing is, there's arcs all over, but the problem is, which I might as well just get into here. The problem is, which although I say this trilogy is underrated, I do get a bit because they started to center it around Jack, and Jack is the same character consistently throughout the trilogy.
Yeah,
he doesn't really change all that much. He's to me. I didn't mind it because I was so entertained by him as a character that I didn't mind him changing because everyone around him was changing and going through stuff.
I mean, it makes sense because especially if you're going to make him the focal point, you know, I mean, because like if he has this massive arc and has a complete 180 character shift, it really doesn't make much sense. But granted, they kind of gave you that in the second movie when he got eaten by the Kraken because he did sacrifice himself to save his friends. Kinda.
He didn't really sacrifice himself. He was left to die.
Basically.
He wouldn't have done that shit.
Yeah.
He was left to die. He's still like the problem. Like I say, the problem is, and like this is what I think a lot of people's hang-ups on this trilogy is that when they centered it around Jack, a character who does not change, who is the same guy, he's the same guy he is in the first movie. That Jack is the same guy, and if there's no arc to follow from the main character, then he's the main centerpiece. Which I didn't mind it as much because I was like I said,
it wasn't very entertaining.
Rewatching the trilogy again, I did realize, you know what? That might have been a mistake. They probably should have kept the focus around Will and
Will and Liz
and let Jack
all them.
Because in the first movie, it's about Will.
Yeah.
It starts with Will.
It ends with him.
It ends with Will. It's around Will.
And Jack goes off.
And Jack's kind of like this. You know what Jack is? Like in every movie, there's this side character who's the most entertaining character. Legolas isn't the main character of Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
But he's one of the most popular. But he's probably more popular than the main character.
Yeah.
I'd say. You know, same thing with like Jungle Book. Mm-hmm. I mean, like Baloo and all of them. The bear. They're probably more well known in Bear Necessities. They're probably more well known than Mowgli.
Yeah.
But he's every adventure has that a lot. You know, they have that side character who's just. Because he can do that because he's not the main character. Yeah. He doesn't have to change. He's who he is, entertaining. Mm-hmm. And when they make the side character the main character, and he's not,
that's the one thing people don't realize.
That's kind of what they
Jack Jack was the side character.
Yeah, he was a side.
I mean, he was the main character, but he was
Jack Sparrow was a supporting character. He was a big supporting character.
He was a supporting character, but then the second and third movie, and then onward, he was the main character.
Yeah, he was a supporting character. He was like he was based.
But I'm not like at World's End, because we kind of talked about Dead Man's Chest a little bit. At World's End was such an epic conclusion.
It really was
to a story, because that's why when they came out with 4, I was like, okay, they're continuing the story, fine. And 4 wasn't a bad movie.
I didn't mind 4,
but in my opinion, it was unnecessary.
Because I didn't think Jack was a parody at that point.
No, not quite.
Not quite.
5, he was.
And plus, I like the idea of Blackbeard and that. Like,
he's the fountain of youth.
He could control the entire ship with his sword.
But it was like the third movie was like had all these build-ups, like, Will went over to Beckett's, he betrayed them, went over to Beckett's side but he had a noble reason. He wanted to free his father from Davy Jones's control, and then they went into Davy Jones' locker to get Jack. Best one of my favorite lines of the whole movie. 4 of you tried to kill me in the past. One of you succeeded. And then Liz is all like,
it's just so great too, because first of all, it was a creative way to do Davy Jones.
Southfang, that was pretty cool.
It's a creative way to do Davy Jones's locker. Like, it's like you look to there is in this world.
There's an end.
There is an end. So you can't. It's hard. It's almost impossible to find it,
but you can find it.
But you can find it. There is an end to the world, and you can fall down and go to the afterworld.
Yep.
And like where he was in the afterworld, living with himself, with his own thoughts. Like David Jones' locker,
went near mad.
Yeah, David Jones' locker isn't like hell. It's you are marooned.
Well, granted, and then I think also too is like, yeah, you're kind of marooned there, and they kind of hinted too that Davy Jones has to be in there like 10 years.
Well, the way they hint it is that this place isn't supposed to be like this.
It's not that supposed to be Jones, kind of a paradise.
That Davy Jones has pretty much shunned his responsibilities.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, and I think they bring this up in the second movie, Davy Jones was charged by a sea goddess. Calypso, who you meet her
that
vessel.
Even evolves.
That was pretty cool.
You didn't know that in the beginning. You didn't know that I always forget her name.
Derdalma?
Derdalma, or something like that. You didn't know that
she was a goddess.
She was a goddess, but it's kind of hinted at the fact that she has all these magical stuff.
She's got magical properties, because she gave Jack a compass that literally could point to anything he wants.
So she brought someone back from the dead. I mean,
brought Barbossa back from the dead in the third movie.
Which was great.
That was awesome. Bringing him back was pretty cool.
I'm not gonna lie, that got me hyped. When I was watching the sequel and it got to the end, they're like, what would you do to save Jack? And we'll do everything. We need a captain who can run those seas. And you see the monkey. What's become of my ship?
It eats an apple.
He's alive?
Which I thought was a cool follow-up. And then, the Calypso. He was charged by Calypso to ferry souls to the next world, those who died at sea.
Yeah.
Because he says it when he's talking to Calypso. He said, 10 years I looked after those who died at sea. That's what you have to do.
You get 1 day on land.
And you get 1 day on land every 10 years. And unfortunately, the reason why Davy Jones went crazy was because Calypso was the lover of his life. And after his first 10-year sentence, he came back, and she wasn't there. And so he got pretty pissed. I'd be pissed too. I can only see you once every 10 years, and you don't show up.
Yeah.
Worst date ever.
That was pretty. But even like I say, even that with Calypso, that evolved over time.
Yep, that evolved.
The character, I would say, slightly evolved, or the greatest was Elizabeth.
Yeah, she evolved.
She went from a damsel in distress to the Queen of Pirates.
Yep.
Who would have saw that coming?
King of the Brethren Court.
And you
one vote.
There's no way you would have saw that coming. Like, if you watch that first movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it does make sense, though, when you go back and look at it, because she had just such a fascination with pirates.
She had such a fascination with pirates. She was the governor's daughter, so I had somewhat pampered lifestyle, all that stuff, and then she literally gets kicked into this, like, rugged, seafaring lifestyle. It's like,
she took to it pretty well, though.
She did take to it very well.
She took to it very well.
One of my favorite scenes in that whole movie, and you're a fucking liar if you didn't enjoy this scene. It was like, literally, the Brethren Court scene was fucking amazing.
The Brethren Court was so cool. Like, the idea of these pirates across the
world. There's like a French pirate. There's like the African pirate from like Mali or something. There's like the Chinese lady pirate and all that stuff. There's Southfang. And I was like, there's so many other pirates. Like, this is fucking amazing.
And then they
all vote on the king of the Brethren Court.
And then they introduce Jack's father,
Captain T,
played by Keith Richards, the inspiration for Jack Sparrow in the first place. That's just magical. How do you not like that? You got the guy who you were inspired by to be the father.
Do you remember what his task was?
Keeper of the Code.
Keeper of the Code.
Keeper of the Code.
Written by the pirates Morgan and Bartholomew. Now, that's one thing I loved about Pirates of the Caribbean. It established like a weird like video game-esque lore to this world. I want to see more of it.
It was a very fascinating world.
And granted, with the fourth one, it kind of scratched that itch of like seeing like freaking like Blackbeard.
Well, yeah,
like, and all that stuff. And then the fifth one was just. Anyway, so is there anything else you wanted to add?
By the way, one of my favorite all-time lines ever in any movie was in the first movie. This is either madness or brilliance. It's amazing how those two coincide. And that's because Jack Sparrow is one of my all-time favorite characters. I just love everything about Jack. Mm-hmm. Granted, like I said, in that fifth movie, we shall not speak of. But I always loved everything about Jack. The idea that he's this chaotic man. He is an anti-hero because he will steal, he kills, but he's not an asshole.
He's not a bad dude.
There was a deleted it's almost scene. Like this weird deep down thing. He's a good man.
Exactly. Well, there's a deleted scene, and you now, and I think it was in the third. I think it was the third movie where he tells us that they tell a story of how he got branded.
Yeah,
a pirate because he used to work for the East India Company, and they branded him because like Beckett, and I don't know why they cut this line out, but it's only in the deleted scene where they cut this out, where Beckett said, "I charged you to deliver cargo, and you failed, and you betrayed me." And then literally Jack's, like, as he pours a drink, he says, "People aren't cargo." And that's how you know, like, at that moment, like, whoa, so, yeah. So he does have he's not a bad person.
He has a code, he lives his life the way he wants to live it, and now he will rob you.
He won't, no, he's not afraid to shake your hand and steal your coin purse at the same time.
He's the kind of guy who would save your life and steal your money at the same time.
I guess you could say he's chaotic good. For those who play D&D, he's chaotic good in a weird way.
Yeah.
He's not a bad dude.
That's why he's technically labeled anti-hero.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero.
Because, like, and like I say, every moment you feel like he might do the wrong thing, he'll do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like even if you're just like, he's gonna leave them all to die by the Kraken. He came back.
And tried to help them.
He's gonna sacrifice Will and all of them to die. No, he's gonna help you. He's gonna, like I said, like,
don't get me wrong. He will try to argue. He will try to fight with himself out of it because sometimes you'll see him and he'll like, crap.
Like, even in the fourth movie when he had the fountain of youth drink right in his hand, he had the water, and he's just like, I want to save her.
Yeah.
And he saved her. So I was like, that's Jack's character. And I always kind of did love that about him, that he is just a squirrely dude. He's a
squirrely, like I said.
You don't know if he's good or lucky. He's both good and lucky.
You might be down the worst pirate I ever heard of, but you have heard of me.
I love that line. You are the worst pirate I ever heard of, but you have heard of me. And that's just, or that line. He's either the worst pirate I've ever seen or the best.
So it would seem. Or one of my all-time favorite, the third movie. I call upon Captain T. His face just drops.
Are you mad? It's a good thing. This probably would not work.
Shot the mask down. Like that's the three movies are so good, and I hate it when people talk shit about them. And most of the time, when people talk shit about them, they never say why.
Yeah, well, they just say like, or they popcorn and there's popcorn. That's entertaining, man.
But that's entertaining. I mean, look, are they deep movies? No, they're not deep.
Are they the most deep, like Oscar?
No, but they're fun. They're really fun. That's like someone saying that freaking Independence Day is deep. It's like, no, it's not deep.
People fight against Independence Day too.
Yeah, they do.
Like, that's terrible.
It's a fun movie. It's not deep.
It's like at what point does being a fun movie is stopped? Because these movies are really fun and
they are fun. And don't get me wrong, they do go all overboard. No pun intended. They go overboard with the last two movies. But it's just like, but the first three were just like really fun movies, and the first one it was just it was a blockbuster.
It was one of the best blockbusters ever made, in my opinion. The first Pirates of the Caribbean,
and the second one and third one were great popcorn movies.
Yeah, it's everything that a blockbuster's supposed to be: a memorable theme, memorable characters, a big breakout character, a memorable logo. Like it's everything that a blockbuster's supposed to be. And sure, like some people some people feel like those other two movies were just cash grabs and all this other shit. I'm like, dude, they were fun times, man.
Yeah, they were really fun times. I think critics agreed, like they weren't bad movies. I think they are fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know. I know the first one, 100%. That thing's got like an 80-something%. Like,
well, I know that the audience score. I know most people like it. So
I'm pretty sure because like I said, they made a bunch of money. So that last one made at World. Stranger Tides. The fourth one made over $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't even think the fourth one was particularly as good as the other ones. Like I said, I like Jack Sparrow. Because I like Johnny Depp's
But mainly, I kind
performance.
of like Blackbeard a little bit more in that movie.
Yeah,
I love that. Anyway, I think we're kind of running a little overboard for your time scale. So, if you want to wrap it up,
and it's short. I really think the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy is one of the most underrated trilogies of all time.
Yeah,
those first three movies to me are really good. They're really good adventure movies, and it has a nice arc. Every character ends up, except for Jack, but every character ends up in a different spot than they started.
Yeah.
Every character like evolves over time. The world grows. The lore of the world grows. And I suppose in a way Jack does sorta kinda grow a bit, because by the time that third movie came around, when the Kraken was dead and everything, and he was talking about Bosich, like, it's the same world, just less in it.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, he's not I'm pretty much on point with I'm pretty much agreeing with you on everything on that one. But I personally dug the first three, especially the first three. Like I said, my only real gripe with the other two was, I guess, kind of what you said about how Jack never quite changed. I mean, he kind of did, but not quite. They were still very entertaining movies.
But centering it around a character who doesn't evolve was probably a mistake.
That was their biggest mistake.
They probably should have kept the center on,
But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's like a shit movie. And like I said, I see YouTubers talk about it all the time. Like, it's like, oh, the first one was great, the second two, meh. I'm just like, no. The last two were meh. The first three were.
I never got it. I never understood why people had beef with those last two. Like, I don't think they're as good. I don't think the other two were as good as the first one.
No.
I don't think they were as good as the first one. But I don't think it was like that bad. You know what I mean?
I don't think it was bad to literally say no. If you try to compare the other two with the fifth one, you're smoking crack.
That's why
that fifth one was horrible.
Overboard. Like that's also some people kind of OD on it a little bit.
But anyway, I think we're overly.
One last thing. Got a little. The special effects for Davy Jones was state of the art and some of the best special effects ever done.
And they still hold up to this day.
It still holds up to this day. It was freaking revolutionary technology.
Killed that one dude with the tentacles.
It was revolutionary technology at the time, and it still holds up to this day. But other than that, send us off.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on
Comic Game Movie Show.
Please remember, like, comment, and subscribe. You want to see more of us in the future, and we shall see you
on the next one.
Goodbye.